They stopped him from boarding, scrutinized his ticket, and summoned security, all while overlooking the fact that he carried the signature on a $48 million deal with their airline. Nothing was off about Marcus Tate that morning. His suit was crisp, his tie neatly knotted. He navigated JFK's Terminal 4 with the ease of someone accustomed to dawn departures and late-night deals. In his left hand, a sleek black briefcase. In his right, a first-class ticket to San Francisco. He was headed to a sustainability conference. Marcus, at 52, was set to give the keynote at the Western Green Summit. He'd done this countless times. Flights, speeches, handshakes. He didn't crave attention, just efficiency. But at Gate 17, the air shifted. The boarding line hadn't formed yet. A few travelers lingered, sipping coffee or checking emails. Marcus approached the counter, offered a polite smile to the young woman there, and handed over his ticket. She didn't scan it right away. Instead, she studied him, her gaze lingering longer than necessary, as if something didn't add up. Her eyes flicked up, then down at the ticket again, slower this time, like she was weighing options. Marcus stood patiently, no hurry in his stance, no doubt in his expression. "This lane's for priority passengers," she said, her tone sharper than the moment called for. "I'm aware," Marcus replied, voice steady. She hesitated, scanned the ticket, then froze. Her fingers lingered above the scanner without pressing it. She glanced at a coworker, muttered something low. The other woman peeked over, curious, her brows knitting together slightly. Marcus didn't react. The agent turned back. "I'll need your ID," she said, her voice clipped. He tilted his head just a fraction. "You don't usually ask for ID after scanning," he said calmly. "Is something wrong?" She faltered. "Standard security check," she replied, but her tone wavered. Marcus knew no such rule existed at the gate. So did she. He slid his wallet from his jacket, handed over his license. She took it, held it awkwardly, then set it down without scanning. "Please wait here." Marcus glanced at his ticket, his name, Marcus Tate, printed clearly. He said nothing. The agent stepped away, whispering to a man in a Navy uniform. Soon, a security guard approached, his stride deliberate. Marcus had faced this before, not often, but enough. The sudden pivot from courtesy to caution, the moment someone decided he didn't fit. Not because of his words or actions, but because they couldn't picture a man like him in the first class. The guard stood nearby, silent, watching Marcus like a potential issue. Marcus stayed composed, stepping aside from the boarding lane. He wouldn't argue or raise his voice. He refused to play into their expectations. Instead, he pulled out his phone, dialed a number. It rang once, twice. "Sarah, it's me," he said. "Can you grab the catering contract we signed with SkyWest last month? The one for their coastal routes. I'm at JFK, Gate 17. I'll wait." He held the line, his gaze fixed forward. No trace of anger, just quiet resolve. The agent glanced back, noticing he hadn't left. She leaned into her desk mic. "We're resolving a small issue," she told the growing crowd of passengers, now forming a line. "Thank you for waiting." But patience was thin. A man in a navy blazer muttered to another, "Is he holding things up?" Marcus overheard, but didn't turn. On the phone, Sarah's voice returned. "Found it. Want me to call their office?" Marcus kept his voice low. "Just mark it. They're about to see the problem." He ended the call, tucked his phone away. The ticket remained in his hand. He stood calmly, like he was waiting for a cab. But that call wasn't about venting. It was a signal. Marcus Tate hadn't always worn tailored suits or flown first class. Raised in Canton, Ohio, In a home with creaky stairs and lively mornings, his mother, Clara, stocked shelves at a corner market. His father, James, worked days at a steel plant and nights fixing neighbors' trucks. They had little but enough. Clara taught Marcus early how you present yourself counts. At 14, he'd rise at dawn to help her unload crates at the market, learning to spot ripe peaches by feel, to catch a bruised pear from a glance. More than that, he learned how to connect with people, not lecture, but engage. By 25, he'd graduated from Ohio State with a degree in supply chain management and $400,000 in savings. His first venture was a small produce stall outside Akron, just him, a rented van, and relentless drive. Marcus mastered the art of listening before speaking. By his late 20s, he saw an opportunity others missed. Locally grown, sustainable produce that could scale for major retailers without losing quality. Not artisanal, not niche, just good food delivered fast. Tate Fresh Solutions started in a leased warehouse with one client and a laptop that froze constantly. He built ties with farms across the Great Lakes, growing steadily. It took 12 years to break into national markets. Now, Tate Fresh supplied dozens of upscale grocers and, recently, SkyWest Airlines. The airline had approached him. They wanted to revamp their in-flight dining after complaints about stale meals and bad press. Marcus didn't sell them a pitch. He offered a strategy: seasonal ingredients, farm-to-flight sourcing, and packaging that slashed waste. They signed a $48 million contract. But Marcus stayed grounded. His Dayton office displayed no trophies, just photos of his first stall and letters from farmers. His assistant, Sarah, managed details. Marcus focused on people. He avoided theatrics, wielding influence quietly when it mattered most. So when the gate agent sized him up, when the security guard loomed like he was trouble, it wasn't just a hassle, it was a pattern. Some saw only what they expected, and when Marcus didn't match their mental image, they dug for flaws. He didn't need to shout to prove himself. He'd spent decades letting his work speak. That call at Gate 17 wasn't the start of a fight. It was a chance for the airline to correct course before things spiraled further out of hand. To the agent, Marcus was just a name on a ticket, one she doubted belonged in first class. Her name was Jenna, late 20s, new to JFK after transferring from Memphis. She was told to keep order, follow rules, avoid slip-ups. But she lacked the instinct to read people without rushing to judgment. Passengers were lining up now, a woman with a striped tote, a man in a gray jacket on a call. Jenna adjusted her headset, muttered about needing backup, her eyes flicking nervously toward Marcus. Her coworker, Lisa, leaned over. "Is there really a problem?" Jenna shrugged. "He claims he's first class." Lisa frowned, glanced at the ticket on the screen. "It says he is. What's the issue?" Jenna hesitated. "Just feels off." Lisa's expression tightened, a subtle warning to tread carefully, but Jenna didn't notice, too busy scrolling her monitor pretending to check something that wasn't there. The security guard stood nearby, arms folded, glancing at Marcus occasionally but offering no reason for his presence. Passengers boarded slowly. The first-class lane was nearly empty. Jenna looked tense, unwilling to back down. Then Marcus's phone rang. He stepped farther aside to answer. "Sarah," he said, voice even. "I've sent the contract details to their VP," she replied. "Also CC'd Tom Hale, their food service director." "Thanks," Marcus said. "Let me know what they say." He hung up, face unreadable. Lisa nudged Jenna. "You know who he is, right? Marcus Tate. His company's on our vendor list." Jenna's stomach dropped. "Wait, what?" Lisa nodded. "Tate Fresh Solutions. They're supplying our new meal program." Jenna's throat tightened. She glanced at Marcus, still standing calmly, ticket in hand, no hint of confrontation. "Maybe we should let him board," Lisa suggested. Jenna froze. "If we do it now, it'll look like we messed up." Her earpiece crackled. A supervisor. "Jenna, what's the holdup at gate 17? We're seeing a delay." She stammered. "Just a passenger issue. It's handled." But her hands shook. The supervisor's tone was sharp. "Get it sorted. We've got board members flying today. No hiccups." Jenna looked at Marcus again. His calm unnerved her. She wasn't fixing a problem. She was creating one. Lisa stepped closer. "Jenna, you need to fix this." But Jenna couldn't move. Marcus, meanwhile, stood by the gate, his posture relaxed but present. The line behind him grew restless. A woman checked her watch. A man sighed loudly. The monitor still read boarding, but the process had stalled completely. Marcus wasn't fazed. He'd seen this script before, assumptions dressed as protocol. He didn't need to escalate. He'd already set things in motion. Lisa tried again, whispering, "That's Marcus Tate." "He's not just a passenger." Jenna's face paled, but she doubled down, scrolling her screen pointlessly. The security guard shifted, unsure why he was still there. Passengers murmured, some pulling out phones to check the flight status. The first-class lane was empty now, but Marcus remained, a quiet force no one could ignore. Jenna's headset buzzed again. She ignored it, her confidence crumbling. Lisa sighed, stepped toward Marcus. "Sir, I'm sorry for the delay." But before she could finish, Marcus's phone rang again. He raised a hand politely, took the call. "Sarah," he said. "Their VP's been notified," she reported. "Tom's on it too." Marcus nodded. "Good, keep me posted." He hung up, slipped the phone into his pocket. His calm wasn't defiance, it was certainty. Jenna watched, realizing too late she'd misread everything about him. The gate area felt heavier now. Passengers were openly frustrated, glancing at Marcus, then Jenna. She avoided eye contact, her hands fidgeting with her badge. Lisa muttered, "You should have checked the vendor list." Jenna didn't respond. She couldn't. Marcus stood off to the side, ticket still in hand, his silence louder than any argument. The security guard finally stepped back, sensing the shift. Jenna's earpiece crackled again, but she didn't answer. She wasn't in control anymore, and everyone at Gate 17 could feel it. Marcus moved slightly, not toward the desk, but to a window overlooking the tarmac. He stood there, hands clasped, watching planes taxi in the distance. He wasn't impatient or rattled. He was letting time do the work. Jenna's composure frayed. She glanced at him, then away. The boarding door beeped as another passenger passed through, but the process was sluggish. Lisa shook her head, stepping back. Jenna was alone now, her decisions unraveling in front of a crowd that was starting to whisper. 10 floors above the terminal, in an office with a view of the runways and Manhattan skyline, Laura Bennett was skimming a budget report over coffee when her phone rang. She rarely answered unscreened calls, but her assistant flagged it as urgent. "This is Laura," she said. "Hi, Laura. Sarah Collins for Marcus Tate, CEO of Tate Fresh Solutions," the voice replied. "We've got an issue with Mr. Tate at Gate 17. Laura straightened. "What kind of issue?" Sarah's tone was professional but firm. "He's been denied boarding." Laura set her coffee down. "Denied? On what grounds?" Sarah explained. Despite a valid first-class ticket, staff had flagged Marcus, called security, no explanation given. Laura knew the name. Tate Fresh was key to SkyWest's new dining overhaul. After a PR fiasco over soggy sandwiches and plastic waste, Marcus's company was set to redefine their brand. This wasn't just poor service. It was a grenade in a boardroom. Is he still there? Laura asked. Yes, and staying calm, Sarah said. Laura stood, grabbing her coat. I'm on it. She waved to her assistant. Get me Rachel and Mike from PR now. Laura's heels clicked as she headed for the elevator. Sky West had inked the $48 million deal with Tate Fresh to source sustainable meals, a move meant to erase months of bad headlines. If this hit the news, it could unravel everything. At corporate HQ in Denver, Tom Hale got a call mid-meeting. Tom, it's Sarah, she said. Marcus is stuck at JFK. Gate staff flagged him for nothing. Tom cursed under his breath. Unbelievable. Tom excused himself, dialed Laura. You hearing about Gate 17? He asked. I'm headed there now, Laura replied. This is a mess. Tom rubbed his temples. Prep legal. If this goes public, we're toast. The new campaign, Fresh Skies, leaned heavily on Marcus's expertise, with ads touting farm-to-flight meals. Press kits were ready, interviews booked. Marcus was to be the face of their sustainability push. Now he was sidelined by a gate agent who didn't know his name. Tom started typing an email to legal. Back at Gate 17, Jenna was unraveling. Passengers grumbled, checking phones for updates. Lisa's silence stung worse than words. Jenna felt the crowd's eyes, the weight of her mistake. Then a woman in a sharp blazer strode up, phone in hand, followed by a man in a dark suit with a Sky West badge. Laura Bennett. She scanned the scene, spotted Marcus by the window. He didn't approach, he just watched her. Laura ended her call, walked over. Mr. Tate, Laura Bennett, Regional Director, can we talk? Marcus nodded. Sure. They moved aside. Jenna stood frozen, clutching her headset. Laura's voice was low but firm. Mr. Tate, I'm deeply sorry. This shouldn't have happened. I've alerted our team to investigate. May I escort you on board? Marcus studied her, then glanced at his ticket. What seat am I in? Laura checked her tablet. 1A. He smiled thinly. Funny, I was told this was for priority only. Laura didn't flinch. That was a mistake. Marcus's calm held steady, but his eyes carried weight. The problem isn't the error, Marcus said. It's what drove it. Laura nodded, swallowing hard. I understand. Jenna watched from the desk, her stomach churning. Passengers had stopped boarding. The gate felt like a held breath. Laura signaled a man in a gray suit, Brian Wells, Sky West's East Coast legal rep. He approached, offered a handshake. Mr. Tate, I'm Brian. I apologize for this experience. Marcus raised a hand. I don't want apologies, Brian. I want to know why this keeps happening. The question hung heavy. Brian hesitated. We're reviewing procedures, he said. Marcus's gaze sharpened. You signed a $48 million contract with me. My company feeds your passengers, your lounges. Yet I'm a security risk? Laura stepped in. We're addressing staff training immediately. This doesn't reflect our values. Marcus tilted his head. Whose values? The company's or hers? He nodded toward Jenna, who shrank behind the counter. Her headset dangled, silent now. The crowd watched, some whispering. Brian cleared his throat. We'll issue a formal statement if you'd like. Marcus's expression didn't shift. A statement? That's not what I'm after. He reached into his briefcase, pulled out a slim folder. This is our contract. My company supplies every apple, every salad on your flights. I'm not just a passenger. I'm your brand. He handed it to Laura, who took it carefully. I don't want a press release. I want change. The next person you flag for no reason might not have my number. Silence fell. A woman nearby lowered her phone, no longer recording. Laura nodded. You have my word, we'll act on this. Marcus glanced at his watch. Then, let's move on. He turned to Jenna just for a moment. His look wasn't anger, it was disappointment, sharp enough to cut. She gripped her badge, unable to meet his eyes. Laura waved to the crew, who reopened the jet bridge. Marcus walked forward, Brian trailing quietly. Jenna stayed rooted, her mistake now a story unfolding beyond her control. The gate monitor flickered, still showing boarding. Aboard the plane, the crew was ready. Marcus stepped on, greeted not with routine smiles but careful respect. A flight attendant, Kevin, took his briefcase. "Anything you need, Mr. Tate," he said softly. Another offered water without prompting. Marcus nodded, took his seat in 1A, set the bottle down untouched. He exhaled slowly, not from relief but control. Outside, the terminal slowed. Gate 17's status flipped to delayed. Nearby gates followed, screens blinking with vague updates. A man at Gate 18 complained, got no answers. The ripple spread. 2 more SkyWest flights paused, citing system checks. In truth, Laura had triggered a quiet halt. After escorting Marcus, she'd stormed into a secure office, phone already dialed to HR, legal, and crisis teams. "Pull every log from Gate 17, she ordered. Comms, staff notes, everything. Employees who'd interacted with Marcus were being questioned. No one said it aloud, but the plane wasn't moving until SkyWest gauged the fallout. A single misstep could torch their new campaign. Marcus sat, eyes closed, not angry, but grounded. His calm came from years of navigating this, moments where he had to act like the sting didn't land. He thought of his father, James, once turned away from a bank loan because he didn't seem like the type. His first pitch in Cleveland when a client mistook him for staff. Decades later, it was the same, just at 30,000 feet. He wasn't bitter, he was prepared. The crew moved quietly, sensing the weight of the moment. Kevin approached again. "Mr. Tate, we're holding briefly for a terminal issue. We'll keep you posted." Marcus nodded, barely opening his eyes. Kevin hesitated. "I saw what happened out there. It wasn't fair." Marcus looked at him, a faint nod. "Thanks." Kevin paused, then added, "My cousin watched your talk online last year, supply chain stuff. Said it inspired her to study agriculture." Marcus's face softened, just a touch. "That means something." Kevin walked off, leaving Marcus to his thoughts and the humming cabin. The pilots emerged, murmuring with a senior attendant near the galley. Their voices carried faintly, "Ground stop, no timeline." A passenger in coach groaned, loud enough to turn heads. This airline's always a mess. Marcus didn't react. He leaned back, watching jet trails outside the window. He'd done what he needed, the rest was theirs to fix. Laura's team upstairs was scrambling. Logs showed no threats, no issues, just Jenna's unexplained security call. That alone was enough to raise flags across the chain of command. The report hit Laura's desk mid-call. "No documented reason for the hold," she read, voice tight. She just called it in. Legal was already drafting scenarios. PR leaks, lawsuits, worse. Jenna had been pulled from the gate, no fanfare, just a quiet escort to an office. Her schedule was cleared for the week. A passenger's photo was circulating online. Marcus by the gate, phone in hand, calm as stone. The caption read, "He didn't shout, but the whole terminal felt it." The image spread slowly, not viral but enough. A few bloggers picked it up, tagging SkyWest. Laura's assistant flagged it during the meeting. "It's not trending yet," she said, "but it could." Laura nodded, grim. "Keep it contained." On board, Marcus stayed still, ignoring the restless cabin. A woman in 3C whispered to her seatmate, Heard he's someone important." The rumor grew, but Marcus didn't care. He wasn't here for whispers. He was here for results. And Sky West was starting to feel the pressure. Laura's call with corporate stretched on. "We need a statement ready," she said. But he hasn't asked for one. Tom, patched in from Denver, cut through. He doesn't need to. He's Marcus Tate. One call from him and we're headlines. Legal pushed for a training overhaul. HR flagged Jenna's file. The gate logs were damning, clean except for her call. Outside, the tarmac was quiet, planes grounded under operational reviews. Passengers at other gates grew restless, unaware of the storm brewing above them. Marcus's thoughts drifted to his mother, Clara, who'd faced her own slights. A store manager once accused her of stealing because she looked suspicious. He remembered his first big contract when a supplier assumed he was the driver, not the owner. Those moments didn't define him, but they shaped him. He didn't fight with volume. He fought with precision. The cabin was tense, passengers shifting, but Marcus was steady. He'd planted the seed. Now Sky West had to deal with what grew from it. Kevin returned, voice low. "Mr. Tate, still no word on takeoff. I'm sorry." Marcus opened his eyes. "It's fine." Kevin lingered. "What you said in that TED Talk last spring about sustainable sourcing, it stuck with me. Changed how I see food waste." Marcus gave a small smile. "Glad it landed." The pilot's radio crackled faintly. A muffled voice mentioned clearance delays. In the back, a man muttered about missing a meeting. Marcus ignored it, his focus on the horizon beyond the window. Laura's meeting hit a wall. "We can't move until we know his next step," she told the team. Legal suggested reaching out to Marcus directly. "Not yet," Laura said. "He's not pushing. Let's not assume he will." The photo online gained traction. A travel forum linked it to Sky West's service issues. Jenna sat in a break room, badge off, staring at her phone. She'd Googled Marcus Tate, saw his name tied to their airline. The weight of her error was sinking in fast. The plane stayed put, engines silent. Marcus leaned back, hands folded. He wasn't plotting or fuming, he was waiting. He'd spent a lifetime proving himself without raising his voice, and today was no different. Laura's team flagged another post. "Sky West delays at JFK, VIP held at gate." It wasn't big yet, but it was enough to make corporate sweat. The report confirmed Jenna's call was baseless, a snap judgment gone wrong. Her career hung in the balance, and she knew it. The flight landed in San Francisco at 1:30 p.m. local time. Marcus lingered on board, letting others rush off to taxis and luggage carousels. He checked his phone in the back of a sleek sedan heading to the Hilton, where the Western Green Summit was in full swing. His inbox was packed. Sky West execs, a text from Sarah about Legal's draft apology, and a link to a travel blog mentioning the JFK incident. It wasn't loud yet, just a murmur in the right circles. At the summit, the ballroom hummed with energy. Marcus slipped in quietly, unnoticed at first. He nodded to a few attendees, shook hands, kept it brief. No one mentioned the airport. He didn't bring it up. Business as usual. That's how he liked it. He took the stage 15 minutes later to a packed house. His keynote wasn't about Gate 17, not outright. It focused on supply chain durability, how tiny oversights in sourcing or transport could snowball into major losses. He shared a tale of an Oregon farmer who nearly lost a crop over a delayed shipment, a misstep that reshaped Tate Fresh's logistics. Near the end, he paused, scanned the crowd. Executives, growers, academics. "Sometimes the issue isn't the process," he said. "It's how we misjudge people." The room stilled. Whether it's a supplier, a driver, or someone with a ticket in hand, Our assumptions say more about us than them." The applause was steady, not loud, but real, sinking in deep. Offstage, a woman from a Portland co-op approached. "That bit about misjudging, it hit home," she said. Marcus nodded. "It's where the trouble starts." Back in New York, Laura pored over an audit. Jenna's file was marked, but Marcus hadn't demanded her firing, nor asked for compensation or a public letter. He didn't need to. Sky West's brass knew the stakes. They'd nearly lost more than a deal. In the weeks after, they launched a bias training program with a civil rights group. A few outlets sniffed the story, tying it to Marcus indirectly. Sky West's spokesperson said, "Recent events showed us where we need to grow." Marcus stayed silent. No posts, no interviews. When Sarah relayed a Forbes request, he waved it off. "Tell them I'm busy feeding people." The incident didn't fade, though. It lived in quiet ways, told over coffee by travelers at JFK, shared in leadership seminars citing Marcus's poise. At Sky West, gate staff hesitated now before calling security without cause. Months later, the story still echoed, not for going viral, but for its weight. A professor used Marcus's photo, calm, phone in hand, in a talk on influence without noise. Sky West employees swapped it in break rooms, a reminder to check assumptions. In Ohio, Clara Tate read a blog post about her son, smiled in her living room, and said, "That's my boy." Marcus kept working, signing new deals, meeting farmers. He didn't dwell on Gate 17, it was just another lesson lived. The ripple grew soft but steady. A flight attendant who'd served Marcus told her team about his calm, prompting a shift in how they greeted passengers. A summit attendee rewrote her firm's hiring guide, inspired by his words on assumptions. Sky West's training rolled out quietly, no fanfare. Marcus didn't track the fallout. He was back in Dayton, reviewing contracts, calling suppliers. His office still held no awards, just a photo of his old produce stall and a wall of farmer thank yous. In Canton, Clara shared the story with neighbors, her pride quiet but fierce. "He didn't shout," she'd say. "He just stood tall." That was Marcus, never loud, always clear. The incident at Gate 17 wasn't a headline, it was a mirror. Those who saw it, passengers, staff, readers, carried it forward. Some changed how they looked at strangers, others how they stood in their own skin. Sometimes the strongest message is silence, and Marcus Tate had said it all without a word. At Gate 17, Marcus Tate stood like a calm storm, his first-class ticket clutched in a hand that had signed a $48 million deal with SkyWest Airlines. The air crackled with tension as a gate agent's snap judgment, doubting his place in the premium lane, spiraled into security calls and delayed flights. Marcus didn't shout. He dialed one number and the terminal trembled. His silence wasn't surrender but strategy, a lesson etched in the morning's chaos. Composure can wield more power than confrontation. When Jenna's suspicion flagged him as a risk, she saw only a man who didn't fit her script, not the CEO whose company fed half the trays she served. Marcus's call to Sarah, pulling the contract's weight, didn't just board him. It forced Sky West to face its own flaws. That moment, frozen in a passenger's photo, taught a second truth. Assumptions blind us, but accountability opens eyes. Marcus knew this from Canton, Ohio, where Clara taught him to carry himself tall, and from years of being misread, valet, driver, never the owner. He didn't need to raise his voice at JFK. His presence demanded answers. By the time he took the stage in San Francisco, speaking of supply chain durability, his words carried Gate 17's echo. Misjudging one person ripples far beyond. Sky West's training overhaul, sparked by his stand, proved it. No tweet, no press, just change. In America, where a single gate can mirror a nation's blind spots, Marcus's story burns bright. Stay steady under fire, and never let someone else's short-sightedness define your worth. The terminal slowed that day, but Marcus Tate kept moving forward, his silence louder than any jet engine roaring across the tarmac. What would you do if judged unfairly like Marcus Tate at Gate 17? Stay calm or speak out? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and comment to spark the convo. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more stories packed with lessons on resilience and accountability that'll inspire you to stand tall. Join our community to keep the insights flowing and never miss a tale that hits home.